Hello everyone, this is a settlement guide. First off, I want to say this is not the guide for the beginners. If you just started playing No Man's Sky for the first time, this guide is definitely not for you. This is definitely for more experienced players who have at least dozens, but preferably hundreds of hours behind them in the game and have a lot of materials for upgrading their settlement. Although if you are new to No Man's Sky, maybe it could be useful once you get those materials for upgrading buildings. So why am I making this guide? The main reason is because I've seen a lot of YouTubers, No Man's Sky YouTubers, commenting on the new settlement feature. But almost none of them talk about the best feature in the introduced with this update, with the beacons update, which is the settlement resource outputs. For example, this guide is very good when it comes to basics. How to find a settlement, how to build buildings, how to upgrade them, resolve disputes, and so on and so forth. It says everything, but he never mentions the settlement outputs. So this is what my guide will be about, and I hope you'll find it useful. Let's begin. When you first take over the settlement, first, of course, you're going to need to build the overseer office, upgrade, all that stuff. In his guide, I don't believe he mentions what resources you need. So you'll need a lot of resources like metal platings, for example. For some buildings, you'll need navigation data, amino chambers, and so on and so forth. For some buildings, you'll need enormous metal cog, dirt, star silk, these sanded bottles, and so on. How do we find these items? You have your list of visited space stations. Always choose the best economy, like opulent, for example. And the type of economy, for example, high voltage. How do you find exactly the materials that you need? For example, in order to upgrade the building, it says you need enormous metal cog. You open No Man's Sky Wiki and look up enormous metal cog, and it says what economy type you need exactly. You look for that economy type in the space stations list that you visited. Now, if you cannot find it, use your economy scanner in your starship in order to find the system that you need. See, economy scanner like this one. You'll need 5 microprocessors and a wiring loom. So when you're in space and you open the star map, on PC, press the down arrow button on your keyboard. Now it shows economy. Press the right mouse button and you'll be able to choose the system you want to jump to. For example, orange systems are, press the R button. Orange systems are mining. Let me show you another system. Come on. See, it says economy mining, for example. So if your trade item that the builder requires needs mining economy, you just go to that system. And the higher the economy of that system, the higher the chance that you'll find the item you need at the trade terminal in that system. Now, for upgrading some buildings to S-Class, you'll need very, very advanced materials, such as polished stone, lithium, and crystallized helium, which can only be found in the purple star systems. So you'll need to find a way to get to those systems if you haven't finished the main storyline, either via Nexus or with the help of your friend, and so on and so forth. These materials can only be found in purple star systems, so be ready for that. But you only need them for upgrading buildings to S-class. So don't worry about it. So let's see what materials exactly you can get from the settlements. For example, I'm in a GEC settlement right now. They can produce metal platings, ion battery, life support gel, glass, sulfurine, radon, nitrogen, fecium, gamma root, cactus flesh, fungal mold, selenium, frost crystal, star bulb, marrow bulb, kelp sac, starship launch fuel, warp cell, frigate fuel, 50 tons, GEC relic, GEC nib, nitrogen salt, hot ice, cryogenic chamber, nanotube crate, comet droplets, vector compressors, fusion core, neural duct, relative star crystal. As you can see, the variety is pretty big. Although I'd like it to be bigger, like we still don't have access to some non-mineable materials like tritium, but it's still so much better than it was before, which is why I'm baffled why most No Man's Sky YouTubers don't even talk about it. Like, they don't even mention it, like it doesn't exist, or it's not a big deal. I think it's a pretty huge deal. So this is when it comes to GEC settlements. At first I thought maybe it depends on economy, type of economy, but no. My previous GEC settlement, which was in a completely different system with different economy, had exactly the same production, which is kind of disappointing because that means you're kind of limited in what you can produce. But it's still better than nothing. That said, GEC settlements are the worst when it comes to the outputs. Let's check another settlement I have here, and let's see what they produce. For example, this Korvax settlement. So now let's see what Korvax settlement produces. Here I can produce pretty regularly quantum processors. Let me name all the items it can produce. Metal plating, ion battery, life support gel, pretty standard. Glass, sulfurine, radon, nitrogen, fecium, gamma root, cactus flesh, fungal mold, selenium, frost crystal, star bulb, marrow bulb, kelp sac, starship launch fuel, warp cell, frigate fuel, Korvax casing, convergence cube, enriched carbon, semiconductor, quantum processor, which is the best item in the list, decommissioned circuits, optical solvent, teleport coordinators, vector compressors, fusion cores, and neural ducts. I chose this one because it's a component for fusion igniters. Fusion igniters, just like stasis devices, are the most expensive item in the game. They need quantum processors, portable reactors, and geodesites. We'll get to those in a minute. Now let's check my Viking settlement, and let's see what Viking settlements produce. So we're at the Viking settlement now. Let's see the output that you can have at the Viking settlement from top to bottom. Metal plating, ion battery, life support gel, glass, sulfurine, radon, nitrogen, fecium, gamma root, cactus flesh, fungal mold, selenium, frost crystal, star bulb, marrow bulb, kelp sac, starship launch fuel, warp cell, frigate fuel, Viking effigy, Viking dagger, thermic condensate, organic catalyst, portable reactor, which is a part of a fusion igniter, dirt, ion capacitor, superconducting fiber, teleport coordinators, vector compressors, and fusion cores. So this settlement and the Korvax settlement produce me 2 out of 3 components for fusion igniter, which as I said, along with the stasis device, the most expensive item in the game. Well, at least one of the most expensive, the ones that you can produce regularly, on a regular basis. Along with geodesites, let me show my starship. Along with geodesites, you can have a pretty high and stable income of units, because you can sell those fusion igniters for a pretty good price. Of course, it does not compare to actual fusion igniter or stasis device farms that you can make by yourself. But this is a great way to free up the build parts. For those who don't know, the amount of build parts, base build parts that you can build on bases is limited to 16,000 parts. So if you, like me, tried to build a town, for example, and stumbled upon this limit, while also having a lot of resource farms, this is a pretty good solution to to free up those parts and to continue building your town or city or whatever. Because settlements don't actually take any build parts. They're like something additional. They're something extra for the game. And even if you have, the good news is, even if you reach the 16,000 build parts limit, you can still build your settlements, and the game won't complain about it. Now, we've seen Gek, Viking, and Korvax settlements, and I've explained to you that you can have pretty good regular income. Again, not a huge income, not with a huge pace, but pretty good and regular income using these two kinds of settlements, Korvax and Viking. Gek settlements are kind of useless because the cryogenic chamber that they produce, at least those as of July 2025, is bugged right now, and it gets produced like they produce like 1 in 3 weeks, which is absurd. Okay, now let's look at the final type of settlement, which is autophage settlements. And these settlements are special because they can produce items that otherwise would need a lot of manual grind. The good news is you don't have to grind for them anymore. You can find autophage settlement charts at any autophage camp. Watch guys for that if you don't know. At autophage terminals. I'm talking about these autophage synthesis terminals, which you can find at any autophage camps. They will sell those autophage settlement charts. You land on a desired planet where there are autophages. You use that map and it finds a settlement. By the way, I recommend looking for ice planets if you want to avoid planets with creepy planets with weird music. Ice planets have pretty normal soundtrack, and they don't feel weird or creepy. They're just basically normal planets, but yeah, cold planets. Now let's see the actual output of autophage settlements. From top to bottom, autophage settlements can produce metal platings, carbon nanotubes, hermetic seals, glass, pugnium, which would usually require to destroy sentinels. Now you don't. Now you don't need to. Alantedium, same thing. You need to grind for it manually usually. Rusted metal, Thesium, gamma root, cactus flesh, fungal mold, selenium, frost crystal, star bulb, marrow bulb, kelp sac, starship launch fuel. Now the next one is something special, warp hypercore. Some of you could have noticed this is different from the standard warp cells that we have in the normal settlements, because in the Viking, Korvax, and Gek settlements, we only have standard warp cells, and as you probably know, warp hypercores are 4 times as efficient, and you can produce them almost daily in the autophage settlements, which is pretty awesome. They can also produce frigate fuel, salvage glass. Again, no need for manual grinding if you don't want to kill sentinels anymore. Salvage glass can be produced automatically here. Radiant shards. Now we have unlimited fuel for your Sentinel starships, again, without any requirement for a manual grind. Inverted mirrors, which you can also, by the way, these items, radiant shards, inverted mirrors, and Pugnium, you can convert directly into nanites using your refiner. So this Autophage settlements can also be used as a passive income for nanites. The rest of the items: heat capacitor, fusion accelerant, living glass, which is sold for a pretty good price, hydraulic wiring, quantum process, quantum computer, magnetic resonator, solar mirror, and amino chamber. The fact that it produces rusted metal allowed me to remove my rusted metal farm, and now I don't have to occupy my save file with all those extractors and supply depots. Just one thing. When it comes to raw materials, resources, these slots can only hold up to 999, at least as of the time that this video is made. So keep that in mind, that it's not the best way of producing raw materials, as I found out recently, because again, this is a pretty small capacity, so you'll have to visit it pretty often to take those materials. But things like inverted mirror or living glass, radiant shards, which is my favorite here, are pretty awesome. And one last thing that I wanted to talk about when it comes to settlements is fishing pools. There it is. What's so special about it? Some will say, oh, I can just fish in normal water. Let me show you what's so special about it. I have a fishing rig here. Let me remove bionic lure. Look, I have no bait here, and let me show you. Again, no bait. Let's wait and see what happens. I caught an A-class fish without any bait, and luck has nothing to do with it. It's because I've upgraded it to S-class. When it's at S-class, the lowest class fish you can catch is S-class. Oh, sorry, A-class fish. You can even catch S-class fish. I recommend adding some mealworms or some other bait to increase your chances for an S-class catch. But even if you catch only A-class fish with no bait, this is still a pretty good income of nanites in the game. And this works on in case of any of these pools, no matter what planet you choose. You can even fish on a desert planet if you build a fishing pond. See, S-class. So, I think I've told everything I wanted. I wish the No Man's Sky YouTubers, YouTubers who regularly make videos about No Man's Sky, didn't meet this amazing feature of choosing the output and the things you can make with that output, like fusion igniters that I've shown earlier, yeah, because they can make a pretty good income. You can make. Oh, and one last thing. For those who will say, oh, settlements are so bothersome, I don't want to upgrade every building to S-class, I don't want to interact with the settlement all the time. Guys, hear me out. You don't have to interact with it once you're out of debt. Like, if you don't want to interact with it, it's fine. Just don't open this panel. Ignore the messages that the settlement gives to you. Just enjoy pure profit. Once you've upgraded all the buildings that you need to S-class, once you've got the output that you need, just ignore those messages. Just enjoy the output. Because one of the reasons is, if I incur a debt here, for example, expedite live repairs, look what happens. So not only I don't have access to my materials anymore, it actually cancels the current production. So the next time I when the debt is cleared in 40 minutes, the production will be reset. It will not continue from the point that it was before the debt was incurred. So I recommend against interacting with the settlement once you've got the stable output that you need. Okay, so that concludes my guide for No Man's Sky Settlements output. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have questions, I guess comment below the video. Bye.